What kind of a relationship do rats and mice have? In his book, Leonard, author George H. Pate examines this question of rodental relationships.
Colonel McFerret looked at his watch one last time and then barked, "All right, men, it's 0500. Move out and set up those roadblocks at all of the port entrances. Remember, not a single mouse is allowed to pass through without their being searched. Anyone found carrying a suspicious item will be immediately transferred to the detention center. All radicrats will be allowed through without search or interrogation. Any questions?" Not one of the rodents in the groups raised a paw. For the members of rats, river area total security, this was familiar procedure, and they moved out toward their vehicles with an insouciance born of many successful operations. This was going to be easy. An unsuspecting Leonard arose at 5:30 a.m. to prepare for work at rat ports. The thunderstorms of last night had moved on, and the racket coming from his roof had disappeared with them, leaving cool weather in their wake. Aside from the wet streets, the walk commute to the building where he labored should be pleasant enough. The only possible exception would be negotiating the grass around the office. He dressed quickly and downed the cheese de menthe smoothie which he had prepared last night to save time, and hit the bricks for another rapturous day dealing with the radicrats. For sure, there were worse places to be employed, like at the government offices, where the ratio of radicrats to mice was even higher. If anything, the big brutes were even more insufferable there. And Leonard cringed every time he had to go to a state office. Radicrat policy was openly discriminatory, yet subtle in its execution. Ordinary mice received lower wages for comparable work, and their tax rate was higher, but not outrageously so. The repression was more like a restraining hand rather than a boot on the throat. However, that hand was omnipresent. The roar of approaching vehicles startled Leonard as he walked down the sidewalk bordering the road that led to the main entrance to the port. He looked over his shoulder and instinctively moved away from the street, just as a convoy of military vehicles swept by him. The last one in line swerved toward a large puddle and sluiced him with filthy water. Leonard stood quivering with both incandescent rage and chills from the cold aftermath of the drenching. The laughter of the vermin in the vehicle taunted him as they spread away, and that small flaming spot in Leonard's soul grew hotter. In the early dawn light, he could see that something odd was occurring as he neared his usual entrance into the port area. The cars were backed up more than usual, and there were flashing lights ahead, which emanated from a large van on the right. Occasionally, a mouse was herded away from the port entrance and shoved into the van. Leonard joined the shambling line of mice waiting to have their IDs checked, and observed that the left side of the road radicrats passed through without hindrance. Leonard is now completely fed up with his lot, and he vows to act, although he knows he will need help. Yvonne Sheepmunk is a mouse with a different problem. The corrupt mayor of the city of the Port du Sordide and his perfidious designs on the city pension fund. Leonard felt his tail twitching. Even in the dark she was beautiful, and with a hard-edged grace. She was queen of the ball, and yet could punch you out at the same time. Her combative nature also concealed more than a little compassion. Yvonne, unless I'm completely wrong, you want to see the back of the radicrats as much as I do. We mice have been downgraded long enough. We toil away in our mouse holes while the radicrats have nice big offices. They treat us like peasants, and it's got to stop. They tax us to death and only give us low-level jobs. I have a plan that will remove them, and then we mice can build a more inclusive country. Yvonne regarded Leonard with sympathy. He obviously believed, with every fiber, in the righteousness of his cause, and she had to admire him. While not hugely concerned with offices, she had one herself, she understood what he was experiencing. Her meetings with Boss Barra and observations on how the state apparatus worked had convinced her that the radicrats were indeed a corrupt bunch. The episode tonight with Lars and Chin had done nothing to change her opinion. Leonard, I don't like them either, but getting rid of them is not exactly as easy as changing a light bulb. How do you propose to do it? The time had come for Leonard to test the depth of his trust. She seemed to be on the same page, but he didn't really know her. He agonized at the final step for a few seconds before answering. I'm going to Oars to ask the monkey ninjas there to help us to get rid of them. They used to have a reputation as protectors of the weak, and I'm sure that once they hear about how we are treated, they will want to assist. I understand that they are even stronger than radicrats, so they should be able to handle it. Monkey ninjas are a paramilitary group under the leadership of one Dorothy and her assistant Ukaruk. However, all is not well at Castle Oars. Hidden in the rocks, Ukaruk observed the castle and waited for the nightfall before returning. Dorothy had not been able to catch him. Once inside the boulder field, he had managed to slip away from her and remove those cursed boots. This increased his speed by 50% and effectively ended the contest. Realizing that the pursuit was over, she found a good-sized boulder and proceeded to kick it with great vigor. This produced a satisfactory display of thunder and lightning bolts, which was sure to be observed back at the castle. The monkey ninjas would assume that Ukaruk had been disposed of in a horrible manner, and her solitary return would confirm that assumption. Correspondingly, the monkey ninjas gave her a wide berth when she moved through the crowd. Unknown to her, Ukaruk had witnessed the boulder spanking from behind another large rock and guessed her intent. Now he would return from the dead, rally his troops, and change things forever. Through their shared experiences on the quest to enlist the help of the monkey ninjas, Leonard and Yvonne begin to grow closer together. A few minutes later, they collected their order from the takeout window and walked across the street to the closest picnic area. The May weather continued to be gorgeous, with a clear and pleasant evening on offer. Several times during dinner, Leonard would catch Yvonne looking at him, but when he looked toward her, she averted her gaze. His brain's left side said, "Go on, tell her how you feel about her." The right side of the brain retorted, "No, don't do that." "What have you got to lose?" "A whole bunch. Don't be a doofus." "At least ask her how she feels." "I'm getting tired of you. Be quiet." "Don't stand in his way. He loves her." "That does it." After a brief tussle, the left side retreated to lick its wounds, but it would be back. Yvonne detected a vacant look and asked, "Hello, Leonard, are you here?" "I'm sorry. I was thinking about something." "That's okay. I am too." Leonard glanced at her and thought, "Damn, there's one of those inscrutable smiles again." Is there a book or something I can use? The pair eventually get to Oars, via the bus from the Fledermaus School, which was also heading toward the same castle. The dark bulk of Oars grew rapidly, and Yvonne, who had been studying its shape for a while, asked in general, "Why are there no lights shining in any of the windows?" "That's odd," added Father Ocoute. "Do you suppose they are having power problems?" Professor Grunhug inquired, "Do we even know that anyone is home at the moment?" The bus driver reported, "There's a sign up ahead. I'll stop next to it and someone can shine a flashlight on it." The bus halted in front of the sign and Rumino illuminated it with a flashlight. There, for all to read, was the eminent domain for sale sign. Everyone sat back to absorb the implications personified in the message. Father Ocoute thought, "This is great. Maybe the school could buy it. Imagine, a school in a castle. That would give us a great advertisement angle." Leonard, on the other paw, had been crushed. No lights and a for sale sign out front did not add up to a successful conclusion to their mission. They had come all this way, only to be greeted by darkness and silence. He buried his face in his paws. If you would like to read the entire story, Leonard, it's available as an ebook on Amazon.com. My name is George H. Pate. Please visit my website at www.georgehpate.com for links to all of my works. Thank you very much.